Welcome to the Life Mod Podcast with Dr. Gonzalez. I am Dr. Gonzalez, and we're coming to you live from our New York City office, 24 West 57th. Beautiful office, and I have again. Man, I can't. How many times have you been on this show?
This will be our third time.
Third time.
Third time's a charm.
I think I'm gonna make you my, Johnny Carson. Who's the psychic?
Oh God.
Ed McMahon.
Ed McMahon.
You're gonna be my Ed McMahon. I think he passed away already.
Possibly.
All right.
I have no idea.
So I'm going to make you my Ed McMahon.
Fabulous.
Life Mod Podcast. Or what's that? Who's the sidekick of Howard Stern? Robin?
I could be Robin.
You could be Robin, or you could be the kid, the shorter guy. What's his name? I forget his name. Anyway,
I haven't listened in a while.
don't know where this podcast is going. To be
No,
honest
so
with
far
you.
it's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, it's part of what we do.
It's veered off a little.
Wow. Anyway, really, you've been on the show for three times now.
Yes.
And you've been very popular. And I do one, thank you for being
it is my pleasure.
Not only part of Life Mod and a friend, but also indulging me in these podcasts, because I really think that we're helping people, we're revolutionizing lives. So. You have a lot of expertise in personal training.
Right.
And you also have a lot of expertise in Life Mod because you're a member, and you've seen what we do with people. And so we've brought you back, and people really enjoy your expertise, and so I'm very excited to have you back. I think the last podcast we were talking about running, which is a very controversial podcast.
Yes.
We're still getting slack from it. And it's because what we say sometimes in our podcast and the Life Mod Way, which, by the way, there's a book coming out. I don't know if you knew.
This is new to me.
Yes, it's coming out in the end of this year, in 2015.
Okay.
We are going to be publishing our first Life Mod Way book. It's called The Life Mod Way. And anyway, part of what we talk about in Life Mod is the human design.
Right.
And there are really 4 elements of the human design that we're very big on. And I know those of you who listen to our podcast on a regular basis, are probably tired of hearing it. But I know you're not, because every single time we talk about it, it's completely different angle and sort of look at the human design. But the 4 basic tenets of the human design are the human design movement, which I think we do nothing. We don't move the way we were intended to
Not even
move.
close.
Then there's human design nutrition.
Yes.
We're not eating the way we were intended to eat.
No.
Then there's the human design supplementation, which I think is so important, and that includes not just like vitamin D or vitamin whatever supplementation. I'm talking about sun. Getting sun and being outdoors. And then we have the human design spirit, which I think is very important. And human design, overall, how we're doing nothing that we were supposed to do.
Yes.
So today, we're going to do a really quick podcast, maybe 10 minutes, and we just want to talk about, because you're a trainer and you see this all the time, let's talk about human design movement. We said, right?
Right.
And how. Let me give you my sort of thought on this, and then you can sort of go on, Paul. People want to hear you anyway.
Well,
they don't want to hear me.
I'll be putting out an album soon.
We are, and stay tuned, and we'll let you know what that's about. But anyway, the human design movement, if you look at how we move, we do nothing with purpose anymore.
No.
Nothing.
No.
In fact, today's Life Mod Tip O Day, we have a Tip O Day every single day on our Facebook page. Follow us, www.facebook.com/lifemod. Our Tip O Days, every single day we put something on there. And today was working on your core.
Oh, huge.
And that basically means that you have to be cognizant every single time. I just straightened up. I don't know if those of you can't see, obviously, this is not a video podcast. I literally just straightened up. Every time I see Paul, I tend to get nervous.
I have that effect on people.
But I just really tightened my core.
Right.
We just don't do anything anymore like that. I mean, we're sitting on our butts right now.
Yes.
On a chair.
Yes.
2 chairs, by the way. He has his own chair.
Otherwise, it'd be uncomfortable.
It'd be very weird.
Yes, quite.
And so, but we're sitting in a chair where we shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And I'm gonna go ahead and let you talk about what you see, about how people move, and how that has completely destroyed healthcare in this country.
Wow.
I know. 10 minutes.
There's a light subject, and after this we'll get into the Mideast talks and God, where to go with that?
Where to start?
Yeah.
I'm good at actually doing this, by the way.
What's that?
I'm good at throwing you like a big ol'...
under the bus?
Yeah,
No, it's good.
Go ahead.
I didn't even see it coming.
Have fun.
Yeah. So generally, the sitting thing is what kills us. The fact that we are so sedentary, we lose so much control of, well, I should say so much understanding of our bodies. More than, I think that's probably the biggest issue that I see with people who are really sedentary. We lose communication with our body. We lose activation of muscle groups with our body.
Key muscles. Yeah.
Yes. Not even the small ones. It's usually the biggest ones that shut down. Our movement pattern goes out the window. The idea of moving becomes strenuous in and of itself. So it literally starts to kind of feed on itself. It's a downhill kind of thing where if you sit down for 8 hours, the likelihood is you get up, you go home, the first thing you want to do is sit down. And so it feeds itself in a really negative cycle. We're not designed to do that.
Right.
And so you look at the healthcare side of it, so much of what's going on with the chronic illnesses, with the chronic injuries that go on, with the chronic pain, so much of this is coming from the fact that we don't move, that we're also inside for copious amounts of hours.
Oh, yes.
Then you add the really bad diets that we have, and you start seeing this monumental, problem that we are faced as, as a culture, as a group of people. Or specifically as a group of animals, because that's really what we are. And if you were to look at all the animals in the world, we're the only ones that really spend this much time not moving,
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? That you, this is why I love you, Paul. This is why you are going to seriously be my Ed McMahon. I mean, I could be Ed McMahon.
Either way.
Whatever. I'll be Johnny Carson.
Okay.
The reason I really do care about this is because what you just said, and all kidding aside, what you've just said in 2 minutes, is exactly what we do at LifeMod.
Yeah.
And that is why I created LifeMod. And that is why LifeMod is big right now.
Right.
And that's why we have people joining us and revolutionizing their lives. Because what we're trying to do is you just said the three key human design
I didn't even get
aspects.
into the spirit of
and you
what
haven't
goes
even
on.
gotten to the spirit yet.
Yeah, what goes on with the body at that point.
Oh, absolutely. But what we're trying to do with LifeMod is look, you might be listening to me right now, to us, and you might be an elite athlete.
Right.
And that's great for you, and that's, we all strive to be more athletic.
Right.
You might be listening to me, and you might be really overweight and thinking to yourself, well, this only applies to athletes, this doesn't apply to me. Or you could be somewhere in the middle, which is where I think I am. You as well.
The vast majority of the people are.
Right. And what we do at LifeMod is we actually help every single one of those
Regardless
people.
of what stage you're at.
Because we want to get you back. We ask you about 220 questions now, questionnaires, that are very, very critical to me understanding who you are. And we have, the beautiful thing about LifeMod is I'm surrounded not only by people like you, Paul, but my coaches and my ambassadors. And these people are trained psychologically and academically to look at people, and the way they answer their questions is how we're going to attack their problems.
Yes.
And the reason that we are where we're at right now in this country with the healthcare and so screwed up with everything, chronic pain, obesity, diabetes, early death. I mean, look, we are living longer, but we're living longer unhealthier. If you have the choice of dying at 90 and dying while you're actually working out at the gym, or dying at 110, but the last 20 years you were
miserable.
Insulin dependent, giving yourself injections, carrying a bag.
Yeah.
That's not life.
No.
And that's what we've done in America. We've gotten so detached from our human design.
Yes.
And that we are no longer living.
We're always treating the symptoms. We're never focusing on what could fix us.
That's it.
It's never prevention. It's always the catch up.
That's it. And what you just said about the human design movement and how we don't know how to move anymore. And this is why I think if anyone is listening, and you guys in the Northeast region, again, we've got people listening to us all over the world now.
Right.
So don't feel bad if you're not, if Paul is not accessible to you, because he really is. Well, we do a Life Mod. Our ambassadors and our coaches, you can call us and we can talk to you, and we can put them in contact with you. We will continue to take calls, and we'll take questions, and we'll try to answer them on our podcast. But what you said about the Life Mod, the human design movement,
right,
is so important, because I think most of our problems stem from the fact that we have no idea how to move. We sit on our butts constantly now, watching TV, texting. And I've always said this, how many times, and Paul, tell me if this is true or not. And I know you tell your clients this as well.
Right.
For one day a week, stop with a phone call.
Yeah.
Stop with the iPad.
Yes.
Stop with TV.
Go outside.
Go outside.
Yes.
And don't do anything other than just move outside.
Walk. I'd be happy right now if people just got up and walked to the park and sat on a park bench and start there. Just to get outside. But yes, moving, just simple movement, not complex, not running, not jumping, simple movement like walking.
Right.
We're very much designed for walking. So even if you are sedentary, if you're going to do something, at least start there.
Right.
I'm saying that with an asterisk next to it, depending on how you move and your conditions and stuff. But once you start moving, things change in your body chemically, both on a physical aspect, on what's going to go on with your endorphins and
absolutely
all the chemicals that kind of start kind of changing in your body. But what goes on in your brain is just as important.
Well, and that's the key to this, because what we're trying to do is saying to everyone that just the act of moving will trigger these amazing, not only physical benefits, but psychological benefits. I mean, and if you, like you said, get out and go outside.
Just go outside.
And get some sun.
Yes.
And walk to the bench. And even if you sit there and just think about your life a little bit, you're going to be a different person.
Yes.
And if you do that more and more, you're going to want to do it more and more. And you're going to feel better.
Yes.
And you're going to try to walk better. And you're going to try to do more. And you're going to try to eat better because you're feeling better. And everything is about getting back to our human design.
Right. Finding that proper spot, that origin of where we were.
What's funny is that we've the world, and I'm American as you are. I was born here.
Yep.
I'm proud to be an American, and I can sing it for you, the song, if you want.
I'm gonna say
okay. Go ahead. I'll stop. But very proud to be an American, and the problem though is that we have our whole lives, and the whole American culture is about advancement.
Yes.
And the more technologically advanced we become, the less connected we become.
Yes.
And the farther away we move from our desired intention as a human design.
Right.
And I don't know why it's surprising that we are, when we do that, when we get away from our human design and more towards this technologically advancement, why are we surprised when we're dying horrible deaths and we have the highest incidence of obesity in this country? We can't even call it. They started calling it overweight, and then it went from overweight to obese,
and then it's
morbidly obese.
Right, because that wasn't scary enough.
And now we have supersize. By the way,
that's awesome.
I think that's the last description. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised with any of that, and. Whatever I can do, with Life Mod, and whatever you can do with Life Mod, and whatever you can do on an individual basis to get people to say, this is not. It's a quality of life. We've got to stop.
Yes. And, it's this ugly hamster wheel where you're constantly going in the same direction and nothing's changing because you're not moving in the direction. You're moving away from the way we were built.
Right.
As opposed to getting back to the center and starting there.
And the center is not that hard to get to. I mean, it's funny because it's actually very easy. And,
Yes.
and the problem that I have, I don't know if you see this too, but with my members and my patients, and really our LifeMod members, we call them members, that they almost think it's so simple that they automatically don't think it's going to work.
Yes.
You know, they're like, no, it can't be that simple. People join our program, and I'm telling you, Paul, we had this week, we had one of our best weeks. Not in terms of, numbers of people coming in and like that. In terms of, well, it was in terms of numbers, but not the numbers that people think. We had like 4 or 5 people who literally cried, in front of me, because they've never felt so energetic, so healthy. They're dropping pounds.
Yes.
They have more muscle.
Yep.
They have less body fat. And they didn't even really care about that, although that's amazing.
Yeah.
It was more of, I feel alive.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, we were both overweight once, so yeah.
Unbelievable.
And that's the thing. It's you sit there and you don't realize how bad you feel. You don't realize where your homeostasis, where your body is at right now, how bad that is, because you've gotten so used to it that once we start to get you to feel better, you'll look back and you'll be amazed how crappy you felt. And you also will start doing things like, oh my God, I haven't drank a lot of water today and I feel really lousy.
Right.
And then you'll look back and go, this is how I used to feel all the time.
Yep.
And that's just one of many ways that the changes.
You accept,
yes,
right, the way you feel as normal.
Yep.
And then you just think that that's the way we're supposed to feel.
Right. Because it's a slow degradation. It's not something that happens really quickly. And because of that, it sneaks up on you. And all of a sudden, you realize you're in a really deep trough.
Absolutely.
And you had no idea that you were there.
But there's an alternative.
Absolutely.
www.lifemod.com.
Yes.
And we are seriously revolutionizing lives here. Paul is available on our website. If you call us, we can get you in contact with him. Amazing talk today.
Thanks.
Really, I mean, I'm telling you.
I always love our talks. I love our chats.
I do too, Ed McMahon.
Yes. I went from Ed McMahon to Robin Quivers back to Ed McMahon.
I know. I don't know how that happened.
Neither do I.
But thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me,
Paul. And again, 855-710-5433. We're in New York City. We're in Jersey City. We're in Charleston. We're in Miami.
Nice.
And there's a way of you, if you really want to change your life, you can definitely do that. And we are the vehicle to do that. Thanks, guys.